Okay, welcome, folks. Officially, now that the recording is started, I'm going to start sharing my screen as well. Okay, can everyone see that?
Hmm.
Yep.
Super. Super. Let's just get started. And Suze, feel free to keep admitting people if they trickle in, which hopefully they will. So,
Indeed.
this is our first type of meeting like this. So, we're going to do a little housekeeping. We updated our meeting schedule and cadence this year, and this is our quarterly community-wide check-in. So I'll explain a little bit more about what that means and what our other meetings are like. Then Suze is going to do a quick recap, like who the heck are we? Why are we here? What are we doing? And we're going to run through our current initiatives and how to plug into those. There are a few ways to plug in, so we'll recap those at the end. We'll have time for questions and community announcements, etc. So, onward. So as I mentioned, this is our quarterly community check-in. You are here in this middle one. These are open to anyone in the general public who wants to join. So anybody who's like curious about Reuse Maine or just wants to like casually keep an eye on it is welcome to join these. They're once a quarter and they're always virtual. In the meantime, we are having monthly work sessions where folks who are running initiatives or like more closely involved on a day to day are joining those where we're not really doing like introductions and overviews. We're just kind of getting right down to business. And those are very focused, productive sessions. And those we also launched this year, and I think they're going very well. And then in addition to that, we love our happy hours at Reuse Maine, so we're going to continue the tradition of two happy hours a year, one in the summer and one over the holidays. So we haven't set our happy hours yet for this year, but we always try to kind of rotate around to like our friends in the brewery space, for example, and be patrons of them. So we will make those announcements when the time comes. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Suze now to walk through again a bit of a recap about who we are, what are we doing, and then we'll get into those projects.
Yeah, indeed. Well, as Sydney mentioned, we are Reuse Maine, and we exist to advance reuse throughout the Pine Tree State. I think we collectively feel there a need to establish a future without single-use containers in Maine, and we want to build a robust and integrated and convenient reuse ecosystem that enables that future. So just a quick, again, housekeeping for everyone. What do we mean when we say reuse? We are talking about any reusable or refillable packaging that is used for the same purpose over and over again, is washed and re-put on the market for additional uses, which offers a lot of environmental benefits and wins for not only the again, environment, but also our society. So it covers a lot of different categories, including bottles, cups, food containers, grocery packaging, etc. And we are a growing community of volunteers and constituents and followers. Again, we're working towards this future where reuse is the norm. You can see a large swath of the uh, public and private sector of Maine are either engaged with us, supporting us, following us, part of our email chain. So we're excited to have this really fantastic group of folks helping us move the needle on reuse in the state of Maine.
Yeah, and just a note, like that doesn't mean that they're officially like members. We don't have a formal membership structure at this stage. So these are just friends of Reuse Maine at the moment.
Indeed. So, what are we up to?
So what are we up to? All right, this is the exciting part. So first and foremost, we're very excited to promote the University of Maine's Reuse Me foodware pilot. Oh, Julie's holding up one of the cups right now. Um, they have launched, thanks to generous funding from NOAA and Maine Sea Grant, a foodware pilot in three Maine communities, Bath, Bar Harbor, and South Portland, where they are using these containers that you can see on the screen. So there's like two different sizes of thermoses, I get to go mugs, and two different sizes of like food boxes. And they are offering these at five participating cafes around these three communities. So there's two in South Portland, two in Bar Harbor, and one in Bath. Um, it's pretty simple and straightforward. If you want food to go in a reusable container, you download the Recirculable app. That's the reuse provider that's offering, that's partnered with the project to offer like tracking of these inventory of the inventory. So basically, you walk up to the counter, you have the app, you scan a little QR code, you borrow as many containers as you need. They give you your food in those containers. They're super high quality. It was lovely experience when I tried it out. And then when you return them, you can go to any participating location, return them, you scan each one so they know you've checked it back in, and that's it. There's no charge to borrow them. You only get charged if you fail to return them, and I think you have a generous 2 weeks to get them back into the system, so it's pretty easy. I actually was pretty slow with mine, but they sent me a reminder email, and that was helpful. Um, so there are a few ways to help with this pilot. There are some limited volunteer opportunities like tabling in each of these cafes just to help folks sign up for the app and sort of get oriented. Um, there's very limited opportunities to kind of reshuffle containers back and forth between the cafes as they get uh, used. And then also, of course, it's really helpful if you could just amplify the fact that this is happening. It's live. These are all launched now. They're in the wild, and we want people to know about it and use them. So definitely go support these restaurants and use the containers, use the app, bring them back. I it's very tempting to keep them because they're super cute, but don't do that. Bring them back. I had to talk myself off that ledge. And just post about it, etc. So if you want to get involved, I've put the contact info for um, the program via the Maine team at the bottom here, and they have their own little website as well. So that is very cool. I'm also going to talk a bit about our state policy advocacy, which continues. So here you can see some of the things we've accomplished in prior years that we're very proud of. We've got strong reuse provisions in our packaging EPR program. There are reuse targets for the packaging sector and incentives in the rules. The rules are now fully adopted, which is also great. We've got reuse funding and targets, a targets feasibility study in our modernized bottle bill. That's what DRS means, bottle bill. And updated the food code to allow returnable, reusable packaging, which is why you can do things like this humane pilot. And we also have integrated reuse into our statewide climate plan, which was updated last year or the year before. Gosh, I'm losing my memory, but recently. So these are things we've been working on in the past. This year, we're very focused on tracking two bills related to that updated bottle bill that I mentioned. So LD 2036 is a bill that would delay the implementation timeline of our new modernized system. That isn't specific to reuse, but it does include some of those reuse provisions like that reuse targets feasibility study. The committee has already heard that bill and the majority voted ought not to pass. But the bill isn't totally dead because when that happens on party lines, it still goes to a roll call vote on the floor of each chamber, so the House and the Senate. So we're still tracking that bill and making sure it's dead. We are opposed to that bill because we don't want delays to reuse in our bottle bill. And then LD 2141 would direct some of the unclaimed deposits, so the basically the pot of money when anybody doesn't return or redeem their beverage bottles for their deposit. The system keeps those funds, and it would scoop some of those funds for conservation of lakes and farmlands. We were neutral on that bill, but the committee also voted on party lines to pass that bill. And again, because it's party lines, it's like not totally decided, and it will go to a roll call vote on the floor of the House and Senate. So we're just keeping an eye on both of those bills, definitely focusing more on 2036. So stay tuned because there might be opportunities for you to engage and get those over the finish line or not over the finish line, as the case may be. And that kind of blends nicely with our next initiative, which is reuse in the beverage sector. So we did a lot of educating of our beverage sector friends in 2024 and 2025. You might recognize some of these things. Back in fall of 2024, we did our educational happy hour, hosted generously by Maine Beer Co. That's where we were celebrating the passage of the modernized bottle bill and explaining the reuse provisions that were in there and getting folks excited. That's when we brought out Matt Swalco from an Oregon brewery that uses reusable bottles in their system. You can see him here, and he spoke kind of like brewer to brewer to the folks in the room, saying, "Here's what this experience is like for us." And then, as a follow up to that, we did a VIP tour behind the scenes of Clink's facility in Biddeford in 2025, just to show our brewery friends, like, and not just breweries, distilleries as well, what would it look like to kind of get your reusables back in partnership with Clink. So that was really fun. And this year, we are supporting again the rollout of that modernized bottle bill, making sure it's not delayed, and then also making sure that the reuse pieces are rolled out successfully. So we're really keeping an eye on this feasibility study for what would it look like to make targets for reuse market share in Maine. So let me break that down a little more because that could be confusing. But the idea is the study will look at what sort of like financial investments and infrastructure would it take to reach various market shares for beverage containers. I think it's 5% and 10% in the statute. So what would it look like to get 5% of all beverages in our bottle bill sold in reusable containers? What about 10%? And then it looks at three different deadlines for those targets. So could we do that by 2030, 2040, 2050? Like, what would that look like? And so when that study is done, we'll have a really nice menu of options, so to speak, to look at what's reasonable, what might be too ambitious, what might be too long a time frame, et cetera. So there are definitely going to be some ways to help. Again, I mentioned staying tuned for those floor votes on those bills. And the final rulemaking for the modernized bottle bill is also not yet done, and we anticipate that to be done this spring, summer as well. So there's going to be some engagement opportunities. And then also, again, with that reuse study, they have to consult with interested parties and the public before they do the study. And so we're really keeping an eye on how we can help shape that consultation. We're looking at maybe a workshop that Maine DEP would host, and we would love for you all to pack the room, be there with your questions about reuse, with your support for reuse. And it would be a whole workshop just on what is possible or what we think we'd like to see on reuse in the beverage sector in Maine. So, very excited about that. It's all around the corner. So, again, lots to stay tuned on there. And I'm going to turn it back over to Suze now for additional initiatives.
Yeah. So another initiative that we've got going on is our BYO campaign, which is continuing in earnest. You may have seen these BYO Encourage stickers around town in your favorite cafes and coffee shops. We are actively trying to engage more and more cafes and coffee shops within the Portland area and beyond to support BYO, to proudly display this sticker. And should they proudly display the sticker, to join our reuse directory, which is at on our website there at reusemaine.com/directory. So we are actively expanding this and always trying to promote and support BYO and our local organizations.
Yeah, and these are just some of the cafes. I couldn't fit all the logos, which was cool. So I just
Absolutely.
tried to do like geographic diversity.
So how you can help with this campaign? We are in need of more stickers, which is a fantastic place to be. But if you know of more cafes or restaurants that do encourage folks to bring their own coffee cups, their own containers, let them know about this initiative, share stickers with them. You can be in touch with us directly, and we'd be happy to share some of the stickers that we do have, and or we'll be ordering some more shortly. We ask you to promote and share the directory on our website, and feel free to post about it on any social channels. And just to celebrate and support any business that encourages bring your own, because this is a very simple and easy way for reuse to start at the local level. Moving along to I saw Nicole, I saw your question. I'm going to answer it later on. But Moving on to our final initiative, Sydney and I joined Top Gun, which is a accelerator program here in Maine. We are using that program to explore reuse as a service and using Reuse Maine as a platform to start delivering reuse as service to a variety of businesses in a multi-phased launch approach. We are also using this opportunity to pursue formal incorporation as a nonprofit. So we're moving from our volunteer coalition phase to formally being a nonprofit that will hopefully be able to start securing funds. And as I said, deliver reuse to some local businesses. So what does that look like? Uh, as I said, our vision is to deliver this to local organizations. So we're planning on starting with delivering reusable cups at a venue or sporting arena, and piloting this initiative, showing how it could work in practice of offering these cups, having them be used at that venue. Say you go to a music show, or you go to a sporting event, you have a beer or a soda as you normally would in a reusable cup instead of a kind of dinky disposable cup. You drop it off at a collection point, very similar to dropping off into a recycling bin. And then you, as the consumer, forget about it. And that's where we step in, where we would come pick up those cups, collect them, wash them, sanitize them, return them to the venue for reuse. And in doing so, deliver a lot of environmental benefits to our community, but also an improved consumer experience for you attending those events. So that's where we're starting, but we have eyes to expand that to bigger aspirations in the future. While we want to start with a pilot with one local venue, we would love to explore expanding into a variety of other venues and sporting arenas, and exploring what it might look like to deliver reuse to our public schools. And then we also are looking to build from that momentum to start delivering reusable bottle washing to our local brewers and bottlers. So plenty more to come. We're still in the early phases of all of what that looks like, but keep an eye on the horizon, because I think some really exciting things are going to happen in the next year or two. And then last but not least, these are not formal initiatives that we're currently pursuing, but we have lots of ongoing conversations and things that will likely turn into initiatives in the near future. So we just wanted to take a moment to highlight those as well. As I kind of hinted at when I was talking about our reuse as a service model, we are exploring what reuse could look like in Portland Public Schools. We want to elevate that to make sure that our local communities aren't supporting disposables, and are educating our young ones about what reuse can look like in practice. We are also collaborating with the U.S. Plastics Pact on a reuse in retail initiative. And they are currently having an open conversation with Hannaford to see what a pilot might look like in their stores locally. So we are collaborating and providing our thoughts and support there. We also are exploring having some form of reuse or speaking opportunity or reuse palooza at MRRA in 2027. And last but not least, we are always pursuing revamping our website and expanding our communications outward, so you can follow us in more locations, and we can grow our audience and our audience for reuse at large. So just to recap, obviously we've got lots going on, but we encourage you to get involved in our UMaine pilot. Here again is that email if you'd like to volunteer, if you have any questions, but do visit the locations and stores that are actually supporting this in Bath, Bar Harbor, and South Portland. We also hope you keep an eye on your email, as we will be emailing you with updates regarding policy engagement opportunities and ways to promote or avoid some of the bills that we are tracking and either supporting or not supporting, depending on what they are. And then we also hope that you will continue to spread the good word of BYO and spread our stickers around. Be in touch if you'd like some of those. And last but not least, our next monthly work session will be held Wednesday, April 1st. So very soon, but if you are interested in moving from this more community engaged, we're covering all of the things that we're up to, and you'd like to start working more actively on a monthly basis, we hope you'll join us there and just be in touch to be added to that.
Yeah, so now I want to do something kind of fun. I know it's going to be a bit silly because there's not a ton of people on this call, but that's okay. Um, as I said, this is the first time we're doing this meeting format where we have like a quarterly, more public forum and we're reporting out. And so we thought it would be kind of fun to just ask you what you think we should cover in um, in a future quarterly meeting. And so we've got kind of like one question poll for you. It's going to pop up on the screen and you can check as many um, topics as you like. And then there's an option for other, and you're welcome to also write in the chat if that's easier. But we just wanted to get a sense from you. What do you want to see in future calls like this? So let me launch this and it should pop up on your screen and you should be able to check off again as many topics as you like. I should have figured out how to like play the Jeopardy music.
Yeah, I think we're particularly curious about or actively thinking about what it might look like to have some guest speakers and get other folks from other potential coalitions or pilots or
Yeah.
world from people from the world of policy and other municipalities to come and share their work a bit more. So yeah.
Ooh, I'm enjoying watching these come in. I'll give it 10 more seconds because I can't actually see how many people are here, so I don't know if everyone's finished, but um,
Yeah, I'm not very fast. I apologize.
no, you're good.
Take
No
your
rush.
time.
Put in your final thoughts. I'm gonna hit end and then I'll be able to share the results so you can all see what I can see. Pretty interesting that so far there's like interest across the board in all of these, which is nice. Okay, I'm ending the poll. I'm sharing the results. Can you all see them? Okay, great. Yeah, so loving the interest in reuse pilots in the wild. I'm really curious when I stop sharing my screen to see what folks have written in the chat. But yeah, it looks like from where I'm sitting, interest in kind of all the topics to some degree. So we'll take that under advisement. We'll also give the rest of the community a chance to weigh in if they couldn't be on this call. So if you're watching the recording, don't panic. You can tell us what you want as well. All right, well, I'm going to stop sharing those and get back to these. Speaking of the rest of the community, we wanted to just kind of leave time in this meeting in case any of you wanted to speak up about initiatives you're working on. Doesn't even have to be related to the 5 or 6 that we just mentioned, just kind of what's up in your world. You don't have to, but sometimes folks have really cool stuff going on. So we just wanted to build this into these quarterly check-ins going forward in case anyone wants to share anything with this group of like-minded folks. So I'm going to open the floor up. And I think we have a pretty small group, so feel free to kind of just unmute and jump in. If it gets chaotic, we'll moderate, but I just doubt it. Yeah, Julie.
So we have in South Portland Earth Day coming up, and our liaison, Will Brenneman from the Maine Pilot Program, is able to join us. So he's going to be at our table. So it'll be good to see him helping to promote the reusables program. Since they're typically up in Orono, they're not really seeing, what's happening. So anytime they get to come down is great. But that event is something that, boy, did I hunt down every possible way to, make this a zero waste event. One of the things that is available to events, but I was not able to take part of, is the Portland Water District allows you to rent this water fountain. It's $100 deposit that gets returned to you after you return the equipment, but you do need a water source, and the gray water from excess water we just need to pour hopefully downhill and not into, part of your event. But I learned a lot about what might be available even in our area as ways to have people bring their own water bottles, not have a whole bunch of individual plastic water bottles that would just get thrown away or recycled. So there are a few things that are in the area that I didn't know about before that.
Cool. I didn't know
Julie,
that
that's
either.
amazing. People ask me that all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
I'm
something
so
that,
glad to
I
know
mean, you
that.
can rent it for a private, backyard, or, if you're planning some kind of event where you have enough people. And I believe, I mean, the fountain itself looked like it had at least six different faucets, I'm going to call them. So it is, usable for a group.
Is there a website or information you could share if other folks wanted to
I
learn more
I could hunt
themselves?
that down, but I definitely went on to Portland Water District's website
I've
and
already found it.
had
I'll
to,
put it,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
had to hunt it down. Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, cool. We'll
Oh, looks
circulate
like
that.
Very
Nicolette already
cool.
got it.
We love that.
Nicolette already put it in there.
Yeah,
Nice.
one of the other things that I found, but does not exist around here, but it does in kind of West Coast, are these mobile dishwashing um, trucks. So similar to, a small U-Haul tow behind, would have the equivalent of a small commercial dishwasher that racks go in, pull down the door, they dishwash at the correct temperature because they have like propane heaters in there, and then output clean, reusable cups, dishes, whatever. Uh, that looked like a very cool thing. Because either you would have, again, this the gray water's the issue, is either you're hauling it back in a tank, or you have some place to discharge it. But the idea that, potentially that is something, is, mobile dishwashing a business that would come, to the East Coast. I haven't really seen a lot of it, but I'd be curious to see if that's something that would grow.
Yeah, it's definitely always part of the conversation more nationally with reuse stuff. Like there's a few reuse providers more toward the west of the country that are looking at like mobile dishwashing options or mobile washing options where they can like pull up to an event instead of having like a centralized wash hub, they have kind of a moving wash hub and they can like pull up to an event and just be there for that. So yeah, it's definitely, but it's always it seems a little bit more like on the fringes. It's not super common yet. Although we have, as Sue, you may or may not have caught this, but Sue's as part of our phased exploration of like how we could do reuse as a service in Maine, we are looking at maybe mobile options for the beverage sector. So it's possible there could be more mobile options for all kinds of things. Well, cool. Thanks, Julie. Any other things any of you have going on you want to share?
We are nailing down our schedule for the rubbish season. If you guys don't know about rubbish, we organize a community trash pickup series that runs from April to September. One happy hour trash pickup a month and a few morning edition trash pickups throughout the summer too. So we will be announcing that season shortly. You can follow us on Instagram at rubbish_project. Or if you follow Go Go Refill, we will post about it too.
Sweet. Love those cleanups. They're super fun. Thanks, Laura. All right, last call. Okay. Oh,
If y'all can you all see me at all?
yes.
I can't see myself. I just hopped on really late, so
No worries.
I'm Sarah Bird in Austin, Texas, and I've been meaning to come and start tracking what's going on with Maine and reuse. I run a project down here, and I just want to say it's so joyful to listen to you guys and what you're up to, because I live in the wild west of who gives a crap about
Yeah.
reuse. So just, to hear the projects you guys are engaged in, and just thank you so much. It's just a joy.
Oh, thanks for being here, Sarah. And that reminds me, I have to introduce you to my colleague at Upstream who also lives in Austin. And
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah, you probably have lots to talk about. But are you staying in Austin or are you moving? Were you like
I'm
maybe
very much
moving?
considering moving to Maine. Yeah, my parents live in
Oh,
Rockland. My family's all from Midcoast, Maine. So
oh, cool. Well, yeah,
yeah.
if you move here, you're welcome to join us, obviously. Glad you could make it to the meeting today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for sending me the invite.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of all we had in terms of our slides. This is, I think, the last one, just again reiterating like how to stay in touch. We've got an inbox, we've got a website that is, we are working on updates to that. And we've got our Instagram. One of our volunteers has started making like a bunch of other social channels. So if Instagram's not your jam, I think we have like Blue Sky and like other stuff now, but I didn't know the handles yet, so I didn't put them on here. But we're going to be working on growing those. And again, we have I guess we didn't put it here, but our next monthly like deep dive work session is next week. And then our next sort of quarterly bigger picture virtual check-in like this is June 2nd. And those are always going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I think that's all she wrote for today, but we're happy to stick around and just chit chat if anyone would like. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll stop recording as well.